Now we're live. Classic films. Okay. Learning the ropes is why I shouldn't be the one doing the tech, but it's okay. Deliberation part, awesome. There we go. We're back.
I don't have the answer to that question. I think one option is to just say that your recommendation includes asking for more information.
We're back. It's the LA City Charter Reform Assembly
I
Live,
think it's very valuable.
broadcasting from the Contemporary Art Museum downtown. Wow. Okay.
We're making contemporary art.
Yeah, we are. Yes. In a manner of speaking.
In live performance.
Exactly. What is it? Career methodology, collaborative, improvisational. It's like what they that's like maybe the guy introduced me to explained it to me.
You're sounding very Hollywood. It says, yes.
Yeah. Very like Meow. But all these artists getting together, but in this case it's citizens redesigning.
Yeah, they're talking about, I forget which expert presented referencing the different sizes of charters. What's the size of the LA charter?
I think it's pretty whopper, and I think it's got too much detail in it. Like he was saying, it's on that spectrum in New York and San Francisco, which have notoriously horrible housing prices. Interesting.
Correlation is not causation.
Yeah, it's related.
Well, I don't know what it looks like.
It was interesting talking with Raymond, the chair of the Charter Commission. He's a really good advocate. He works for the union.
Okay.
And head of the union, Service Workers Union for LA. So it's a lot of government employees. And he loves this kind of process because his membership sees and is so frustrated by the lack of responsiveness in the system and systemic dysfunction. They'd love to have more voice of citizens in it to improve the conditions that electeds can change effectively or listen to them on how to change it.
It's given that this is simply supplying proposals to the commission. It's hard for me to hear people who would oppose such a thing, right? And I suppose if you were asking for large amounts of funding, then you would need to really think about that. But anything...
Well, the commission didn't, and they're into it, right?
What is the LA City budget?
And then the mayor is supposed to be warming up to it now, to what the commission is doing. Not yet the assembly piece, but maybe. So it's interesting that I think that we're starting to get a breakthrough. Because the commission itself was appointed and is yet still earnest enough and well-intentioned, like service employees. People complain about, government employees and bureaucracy. People get into it, like doing work, they dig it. Like, they're going to flip how you work together, attitudes and stuff. And everyone in there, from their families, their own kids, it's just like, it's not fun.
The last time I was selected for jury duty 2 years ago, the case was about an LA County worker being discriminated against in the workplace. Our government workers are vital to seeing through the pandemic, the shutdown. Anyone needs representation. We all.
The whole system needs a nice improvement of the process. More deliberation in all quarters, right? The more responsiveness.
Yeah, and yeah, the idea that at least in some cases, many hands makes for light work. I really do think that these processes allow to really focus in on a single issue. While issues are often intertwined, I do think that a lot can be done by not focusing always on a giant platform bundle of policies.
So I propose, Mike has proposed we should have an institutionalized target reform commission process every 10 years. There should be a warm-up beforehand for like 3 years is what we rated, and Charles is one of the people here talking about it. The warm-up included. So it's got more time to engage people and whatever. I offered like the counter proposal that enhancement that it should be really neighborhood level.
Right. Which we
spoke about earlier. They switched to the charter thing, but they've already progressively talked about the different issues, track what's systemic, what's just at the policy level or the ordinance level, what's the rules level, right? And then they'd be able to isolate what the systemic problems are that need fine-tuning every 10 years. But with an ongoing accumulation of neighborhood level feedback and knowledge, and then we're going to, double the city council. But it's not going to have more responsiveness. We'll have twice as many council members. We will still have populations way too vast beyond the scope of action mandate without a better responsiveness system on the ground. And then the whole thing of like neighborhood councils getting teeth, but then being more corruptible because no one actually votes or is aware of that. That's where sortation can happen regularly. Paid stipends for doing it.
There's already, I believe, each neighborhood council receives like $35,000 a year.
Councilors.
Each neighborhood council,
And not the members themselves.
right? Doesn't
They don't get paid.
right. So that I don't know what
What would it
cost, and if you want to take that funding back and reassign that. I don't know. One of my favorite things these days is to say, I don't know. A civic assembly or sortition body should decide that. It's a weight off my shoulder. Many weights.
That's why we were like, so the end of the final major assembly, you guys are thinking about housing and reform. They've already seen a lot of commissions on this. They're just warming up to the idea. Most civic assemblies will talk about participatory budget.
Right, being Culver City
as part of the city charter reform. There's a
budget factor.
The budget process. And I was like, why not look at just more responsive systems? What would make the system more responsive and back the civic assembly? Because they haven't the time to look at this. They're learning about it now. So give it to the assembly about how to make more responsive systems, assembly systems happen in the city. Yes. And then, as he said, I don't think we'll have the time to turn that into policy within the charter reform proposal. But it could warm up the conversation that it could be done at the ordinance level, which is entirely true.
Right. Which I've been learning a little bit about today myself.
What's that?
I've been learning a little bit about these processes today.
We're not locked into the charter reform process as being the only place where we can actually, in fact, the biggest changes we can make will be in legislative changes, because you could do anything you could do in the charter reform process. It requires it slower, longer, whatever. But you can do the same thing through an ordinance, just like you could at the federal level if you want.
Sure. You're aware of the Culver City? They're going to be using the civic assembly for their participatory budget process.
The institute process with the city council.
Yes.
And they're going to
that's an ordinance of Culver City. Right.
Budget allocation.
With Culver City not being part of LA City, they have their own charter, which has their own ordinance level, charter level. I mean, this idea shouldn't be judged positively or negatively completely by a single instance. and it's just like very low cost to try very low risk to try this, and we should be trying this in lots of different environments with different sizes. We have 40-ish people here today. I think we're too shy, but somebody suggested 30 people. Other groups suggested larger. Let's try it. Think about it, talk about it, and discuss that too.
We're in the experimental stage of that for sure.
Yeah, it's I don't think that the charter of LA was crafted magically and perfectly, just like I don't think the Constitution of the United States was crafted magically and perfectly and should never be considered revisable. I mean, clearly we've revised our Constitution many times in ways that
Much in the last 70 years, apparently. It's hard.
That's true.
It's much harder now because it's hard to get consensus so polarized and politicized. So people talking about constitutional changes, I'm like, look, if you can just get some common sense laws passed, then you might have a chance of doing something bigger to require a supermajority. You can't even get not even pass simple majorities without it being polarized. I mean, it's just getting the budget approved, right? To keep the government working, which is like politicized at the laws. So it's like, I know people talking about like constitutional reform. I'm like, we got steps ahead of that.
I totally agree. I guess my main point was just saying this idea that documents that are made are so sacred and somehow so great.
They're incomplete.
The people who lived before us, they're not that different than we are.
But we don't need constitutional change to institute the culture and the institution in tandem and parallel to these things. Yeah, I'm more and more about that. I'm so market-based right now. And I'm almost here just I want to learn and see how the learning process goes, but on my bets on actually doing a market-based solution.
Okay, I'm giving you guys.
That actually satisfies some.
I'm not actually sure what that looks
She gets.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to explain it to you in our next step.
Okay, I'm giving you guys 5 minutes. This is your 5-minute mark because after that, there's going to be some table rotations. If there's anything that people want to be getting down, also you can start. The recommendation piece has all that space with the idea that you will continue to refine it as you guys discuss. So as a group, if you want to make updates to that top layer and like make it more specific, you could even decide that it actually is 2 ideas and you can break up into 2 smaller groups. There's a lot of different ways. It's up to you guys how you want to handle it, okay? So 5-minute notice, and now you can continue.
It says that the council you'll lose. There's 2 ways to answer. City council can vote on it. It's a lot harder. Plans, I guess, I understand, try and play this for
Red, you can't change the mic on the fly on this thing. So unfortunately, once I'm rolling, unlike in Zoom, if I was using Zoom, I would be able to like alternate between this thing and a handheld. But this thing has the stereo in it. So it works for like when it's quiet, there's just one person speaking. When it's a room full, apparently it's really noisy, which is why I wanted to test this stuff out. So
Yeah,
it's like how we do this thing is going to be interesting. That's why like, we don't really have the technology that doesn't exist to capture deliberation.
Give everyone a little lapel.
Exactly. No, that's how everyone gets their midnight. You
get 8 courtrooms for each one of these tables.
That's AI. Do that. Blindfolded at this point. And segment the people with voice signatures and the whole thing. I mean, that's what Otter does, right?
Otter AI and every Zoom meeting I'm in, you know?
Yeah. And it's not even that expensive, but all those things. So it's like, and that's what remesh is. So they've got a lot of it built into the remesh system, and they're using it. I know it's going to get taken care of, but I'm not working on that. Okay, 5 more minutes on this one.
Like 5 minutes was a couple minutes ago.
Okay. It's over here. Okay, cool. So, can you tell that I was a teacher at some point in my life? Okay. So what we're going to do next is our first rotation. So 2 people from your group don't move yet. We'll stand up and move to the next table. What is going to happen is that the people who are sitting, who are not moving, they get 5 minutes to explain what is going on that flip chart. So 5-minute summary of all those sticky notes as succinctly as possible. The new 2 people will have 5 minutes to say, have you thought about, I don't know if I agree with, what about adding? So any kind of commentary. And then there'll be 5 minutes for everybody to kind of make sure that all the new ideas are on the flip chart paper. So we're going to do that kind of rotation 2 times. Cool? So I want the 2 people whose names are closest to the start of the alphabet to stand up and rotate. First name.
We're gonna just do one. Alex.
This could be cool. So we kind of want to stay put.
Yeah.
Hey, Ross.
No, sorry.
If more people didn't stay.
Ross, need 1%. Right or left?
Yeah, this way. Clockwise.
Clockwise?
Clockwise.
Let's see how. Clockwise. I'm starting the 5 minutes now for the group to explain.
Almost 3 o'clock. Oh, like to sit?
When does it wind up?
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
So Chris is someone who we have seen if he can be a speaker, but he didn't confirm to me first. And I was like, we're experts are how big a deal? So he like moved around his family.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not that time.
Yeah. I mean, do you think like Raymond will come and speak at the 11th the same way? I honestly feel like that's most valuable. Just real legitimacy, very clear connection to how this is going to do something.
And the remit
And he was an excellent speaker.
Figured out yet?
One day I will leave.
One day, exactly.
Maybe by the
Maybe.
11th.
Yeah. Maybe.
And who's going to do the design on the main assembly? Because you're going to be out of pocket.
Healthy democracy.
Okay, great. You're doing it.
Yeah.
So the funding came through.
Oh yeah, 200.
Yeah, that's
So we will do something. Yeah. The amount of people, the amount of hours, all of that. Yes. That they get to share their devices. In the last one. Just make sure everything's on there. Oh, sorry. I'll get that on the screen.
just like timing out.
I keep unplugging it because I'm moving around. It might be timing out because I keep. Thank you.
If the newbies have not yet shared their perspective, it is now their turn. So the two new people at your table.
Ladies and gentlemen, so the foreseeable is not going to be covering like large scale things. It's going to be sort of few and far between. It's more of a discussion, but also getting behind the scenes. So you get a team behind us, which should be easier to be piecing out because we'll just be like 5, 6 people at the table. 40 people each. Yeah. So thank you. And oh yeah, I forgot the name of the past. Sending it again via telegram.
Okay, you have another 3 minutes. Teams in the back, do you hear me? 3 minutes to finish putting it down before the next rotation.
Well, you can put more there. Don't worry, if it's too much, don't worry about it. So, but I think that's like the next. It's the hot picture of there's hands up for a sec. Sorry guys. I'll add on your minutes. Quick announcement. And did anyone park a Mercedes in this lot? Did anyone park a Mercedes? Do you mind backing out for 30 seconds so they can get something out? Sorry, continue. Okay, hands up, mouth shut. Hands up, mouth shut. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna do another rotation. This time, if people feel comfortable, you can decide to use a different way. But let's have the youngest person and the oldest person stand up and move tables.
Need a hit with this one?
Same instructions, 5 minutes for the group to share out, 5 minutes for the newbies. If newbies have not started to share, please switch to the news. Scott, you might have to move in a few minutes if you don't mind, just so people can clear out the space so they can walk Good thinking.
Anyway, back to
Okay, you just have 2 more minutes. So this is your chance to update the recommendation at the top. Can I have all eyes over here, please? You'll have more time to finish your sentence, I promise. So after this, after your groups finish talking, what's gonna happen is you're gonna bring up your flip chart papers and you're gonna put them on the wall and you're gonna have a chance to walk around. I'll explain that more, but there will be this is a first vote. This isn't the final vote. This is a temperature check is what's coming next. Like how's the group feeling about these recommendations? The reason I'm mentioning that is that you might want to revisit your top level at this point and make it as clear as possible so when people are voting, they know what they're voting on. Okay, so you have another 2 minutes to finish up in your small groups. I would suggest you use that time to make the top level as clear as possible. Okay, can I have a thumbs up from groups if they feel like they're good? They got their recommendation? I say mostly thumbs up. George, what's your group? Okay. Eyes over here, please. I know, I'm throwing things off, I'm moving around the room. Over here. Okay, cool. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to sorry, get time's up. We're gonna put the flip chart papers on the wall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ask the small group facilitator to take on that task to find an empty one. While they're doing that, I'm gonna just remind you guys of the values and share what the votes are, because this is kind of what the group, so you know what you're thinking about when you're voting on these recommendations. So community input into decisions got mostly strongly agreed. There's one neutral, don't know, and one somewhat disagree. Ecological and environmental considerations. We have strongly agree for most, and one somewhat agrees, one neutral, one somewhat disagree. Functional government, corruption-free, and fiscally responsible, all within the agree range. Equitable access, a lot of strongly agree, one somewhat agree, and a few neutrals. Efficiency, a lot of strongly agree, a few somewhat. Equity also, a lot of strongly agree, one somewhat, one neutral. Accessibility, a lot of within the agree realm and two that are neutral. Targeted local inclusiveness is mostly within the agrees and there's a few neutrals. Ability to walk within your community and access healthy green and third spaces are both all within the agree range. Fair and transparent representation in land use decision making, also all in the agree range. Safe but streamlined process, mostly within the agree range and two neutrals. Affordable housing, lots of strongly agree, two neutrals. Respect, we all love respect. Effective, all the agrees, mostly strongly agree, one somewhat. Investing in community through affordable housing and connectivity, a lot of strongly agree and some somewhat agree and a few neutral. And then community enhancement, strongly agree, somewhat agree, 4 in neutral and 1 in somewhat disagree. So I'm just mentioning these, you still have your own values, but just so you have a sense of how the room is viewing these recommendations. What you're gonna do now, it's gonna be a bit of a mess, one might say, but you're going to have a chance to look at each flip chart paper. I encourage you, we will tape up these. I encourage you to read as many of the sticky notes as you can so you can get an idea of what the discussion was if you were not in the discussion yourself. And then underneath, there is a scoring. So it's the same scoring as what I just read off for the values. On your table, you have stickers, 1 sticker per recommendation. So you should vote on every one of the recommendations. You should use 8 stickers, okay? Across all, one per recommendation. And you're going to choose if you strongly agree, somewhat agree, feel neutral or don't know, somewhat disagree, or strongly disagree. The other piece that you get to do right now is on your tables, you'll see those little teeny tiny sticky notes. Each of you gets those as well. Bring a pen, because you'll be able to mark what you disagree. Like if there's something you don't like or you're not clear, you wish was explained more, now's your chance to write those notes. So try to stick it as close to wherever you're confused as possible. You can also put positives, like love this, best idea ever. It doesn't have to all be negative, right? So everyone should be walking around with either a strip, or if you have half strips, 2 half strips, and a pen and these little things. This is also your time to like go to the bathroom, get water, grab a drink, grab more coffee, whatever else it is, okay? So we have around 15 minutes to do this, so you don't all need to rush it, but hopefully there's like a steady stream of people who are going through. Is that clear? Any questions?
No.
Okay, let's do this. Again, this is not the, I do want to clarify, this is not the final vote. This is a temperature check. Each group will have a chance to revise based on what the feedback is. Okay. Don't all rush up at once.
I'm realistic about what we are. And also, given probably
That's fine. That's kind of what they're kind of like drawing us that they go direction to the next person.
no, it's okay. It's okay. We're supposed to still have we like. LA is kind of shooting everything out one way and trying to get it better. Yeah, we know what that happens to be. Hey, Mike, how are you? I just see it in the corner of my eye. You're talking to Jamie. You've only ever talked on the phone, not on. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Why you mean I'm never on here and there. I've been yelling at them about the water. You shouldn't be. Yeah, that's me grabbing. Is this useful? I don't like the process because it's too quick. And I felt like people didn't have a chance to understand the topic before having it. 2 minutes, just because I felt so disoriented and we didn't have a chance to really get into the topic. Like, have a discussion. It's like boom, 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 boom. Yeah, and so I don't really know what I feel strongly about, and I feel like it's hard to understand when you're going to go to somebody else's house. I mean, I know the one I feel super strongly about, but that is. Are you okay. Do you know January what the topic's going to be yet? Maybe those are my two. I'm trying to be careful about myself because I'm dealing with
That's what someone was saying. That's what Barbara was saying.
so that's the topic.
Engineer?
Yeah, she's an engineer. She's like, she's laser optics.
I was an alternate. Then like when I got to the they were like, you need an alternate. I have an A. And then somebody was like, oh, like, no. Like, you don't understand. Let me explain. I was like, look, you know this is what campaign finance is. It's a great idea until you understand what it's called. Yeah.
Are you like
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
okay? I'm like blind, so
Sorry.
Are you taking pictures? Oh, sure. On the worst of public to take pictures. Well, I think you guys have that. Especially when you yeah. Take outside. Yeah. Which one? Not Stop people from litigating. I don't understand. Thank you for your tips at clarifying. Put your glasses in.
Also, the department or development? Development. Okay. Development department. Is that like something like the public works commission overseeing public works? Yeah, I was trying to understand like how they is what is that?
Okay, take another couple minutes to add any last feedback, and then we're gonna move to the next part.
So, are we signing each?
We have the no takers twice. I feel like whoever wins last thing, just go back to that. The appropriate you should mention the nature of facilitators being I'm happy to do it. It's been really surprising. It's distracting. Oh, yes.
Okay, it looks like most people are finishing up or finished. So take a seat, please. Okay. We'll bring it down to the Okay. So we're entering the kind of final phase. I know it's been a lot of information. Okay. Yes, exactly. Catching on. Okay, cool. So on the boards, you're going to see kind of a visual of how people are feeling about different recommendations. This is kind of useful for you in your groups to start thinking about which of these are really strong agreement, which of them are more mixed, because the vote at the end is what we're calculating, is trying to figure out the somewhat agree, strongly agree, okay? So that's why you're trying to think not just about your own personal desires and wishes and experiences, but what you've been hearing all day. So I'm gonna turn it over to Max to talk about more about this whole recommendation phase.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Before we dig straight into the recommendations phase, I just want to explain something about the nature of civic assemblies. They're a fairly new process, and a lot of us here are fairly new at being facilitators. And one of the thoughts that is put forward is that truly the assembly, who represent the people, should really be in charge in a sense of who is facilitating them. So if there were a system of regular assemblies, the assembly would have the ability to perhaps leave feedback on the facilitators, perhaps recommend or disrecommend the facilitation, but it is the people who have the power. In this mini assembly, we're working clearly with what we've got with a single day. Public Democracy LA is trying to figure out how to serve the people, and we hope we're doing a good job. All right, so this is the recommendations phase. Similar to in a full civic assembly, you've now gathered feedback from others in the room, and it should be getting clearer which proposals have broad support, which need more work,
and where disagreements remain. Only recommendations with strong support will move forward, and any dissenting perspectives would be included in the final report. Before the final vote, each group will look at all the notes compiled in their draft recommendation and consider how to update it in order to gain higher consensus. Okay, as a group, review the feedback. Identify what people liked. Identify big concerns. Is there anything you can change in the recommendation to address them? Should the recommendation be divided into two recommendations to make one or the other or both more likely to pass? Draft revisions to the recommendation. Write final revised recommendations at the top of the sheet. Okay.
Question,
Yes.
what group are we in? The one that we moved around to, or?
The ones you're in now. I think we're done with the rotation for today. And I believe we're ready to go. 45 minutes. And
One addition.
Yep.
is, that if your group finishes quickly, because these are different sized recommendations and you want more advice, then we can help pair people off or like switch groups around as needed to get more input or more ideas. So, but the idea is right now down to business. Really though, I just don't remember which group got what. So I'm gonna ask the small group facilitator to come up and grab their flip chart paper to work off.
I can do it.
You never see that.
We kind of keep it about doing.
I know.
Figure that one out. What do you think? We have only two groups are allowed to split. We do have a few extra ones, but otherwise we have to.
Just do take notes, you can do it. So at this point, it might just be easier to just take out paper.
It's just things that the plan finally happened.
And we have
Chairs.
It's funny to me how little I paid attention to the actual issue. So they're talking about. I'm just purely thinking about my
They're in it. Just imagine what it's like being on the commission. Oh my God. That's a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of details.
commission meetings, city council meetings are so boring. This, like, we were engaged at the table discussing so much. Like, I had so much more wanting to do this. So we sit there. The traditional community input, seconds,
Anger and feedback and whatever.
regulars who are crazy,
They argue about stuff that's more
you can't even respond to them. You're not, you just listen and then talk about it later.
Here we go. All right. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, damn it. And even if it doesn't record it well, actually something. You know, I've been studying business practice more for what I'm going to be doing with my enterprise. And businesses don't operate this way. Have you heard of the entrepreneurial operating system? 10,000 businesses have used it, so they keep refining it. And it's like bureaucracy, which is sociocracy. It's a methodology of organizational governance. It's more flat and decentralized. An entrepreneurial operating system says every project is its own entrepreneurial thing, with a definable person who's accountable. The person who's in charge of getting permits processed effectively would be similar to a coordinating head, an entrepreneurial role with incentives for success.
So this is a corporate structure.
Corporate structure, but any organization. So the question, and so when you're doing product design or service design, which is a form of product as far as corporations, you do focus grouping is the stupid version. And if you have high resolution stakeholder engagement, that's where the future is going. And this, with corporate product design, in a way, you say, like, what's not working with continuous? We're not just as a filter of the design team chuck stuff away like the city council, but they have to be responsive, right? Otherwise, they lose their jobs or they get rewarded for being responsive. Why there's a conversation about what to do. So they have these meetings called L10 meetings, and it means there's a 90-minute meeting process. Things are decided. You look at issues that are interviewed. Maybe some high-level discussion, but deliberation doesn't have to be meetings. Like council meetings, 90 minutes, you're done. Are you doing your job? Are you doing your job? Good. And it's just like, it's a completely different methodology, but this is what makes corporations work. Entrepreneurial responsibility and accountability. with incentives and rewards. As our government, I see no reason why our government should operate the same way, but where the deliberative function is your high resolution feedback system focus group for product and service development.
I mean, coming into this kind of space, it's been with figuring out, well, why do I have this intuition that design my committee is a bad thing? And then you need like a strong auteur to make a good movie, or design a good experience, or a strong CEO. And are those assumptions valid in some cases? Are they invalid? Like, why, where, when does a committee do well? And how can we figure out, right, like the madness of balance, just the wisdom of balance? Right. I mean,
in the case of political society, the ultimate partner, so the design of the system becomes someone who's responsible for that was a founding father, fine-tune adjustments, legislative, executive, judicial, right? But the deliberative function never got high resolution possibility to. So that's why I call it the fourth branch. Leave the existing system intact. Change the function to be entrepreneurial by having, like we're seeing implied, people accountable with rewards for success. Because right now, no one's changing the system substantially, and it's very intrinsic. So where I see the big room for improvement is you do that with we need improvements, prioritize what about, find best practices through citizens, and then apply pressure on the things that matter the most to you. Here's a model from the bottom up saying your product no longer works. You're still having flip phone, and you're not even, you have no Steve Jobs. There is no Johnny Ives who's going to come in and now miraculously fix LA. So we have to go through a process where we're saying, literally, this is the Johnny Ives. This is the Steve Jobs saying, what would be the optimal deliberative system? And that's where, like, I'm going for. So this is where we're creating amazing things to grow really quickly. And it's satisfy consumers really well to knock out preceding providers completely the product offerings. Literally, what is better than and the cable set-top box. And in fact, YouTube is even better than that. Very essential, very controlled. Also now governmental.
Right. So some pushback to that would be that oftentimes these institutions are able to come to governments by providing that innovation, that better service. And then the question is, over time, do we get that institution?
Absolutely.
So how do we?
Because they're monopolistic once again. Right. Protects them, they can get the government.
And the government itself is, by definition, a monopoly. So how does one? Like I'm not even super sure. I know I'm the one who brought up Steve Jobs. It's not even clear to me exactly how much the individual is responsible for much of the success.
I think they
I'm not sure I need to answer that question.
Yeah.
But the question I'm interested in is how do we filter for what's good and how do we have a self-repairing system, right?
Optimization can't be left to the institutional leaders because they get into the system as winners of it, so they have no incentive to stop this out. Is why civic assemblies have a hard time getting uptaken by because they want the existing system. Right?
That's kind of the bummer here. We're all very excited about this, but we're not. This has been done half a dozen times in the U.S. And no city is just like, all right, we're just going to do this always.
And do it with the neighborhood councils and spend what will be like billions of dollars to actually implement it every year, all because we don't have the budget. Right? So that's why I'm going briefly. When I mentioned to the market-based approach, to say, where is there a community that's not served, right? But we've done with our data as the nation that is the Wild West. It's been completely raped and robbed. Nobody owns their identity. So it's like you don't own yourself and you don't own your property. It's our data. It's our data.
The data monopoly idea,
Well, and it's just all
techno-feudalism.
Yeah. What are you looking for?
Stickers?
Tape? Right here.
That's it, exactly.
Which ones do you want? Okay. Yeah, so it's like it's as if the Hudson's Bay Company owns all of Canada, right? Or
The group is so proud of their work. They got so many positive degrees. They want to keep that on the poster.
okay, good one. Amazing. That our data is not, it's like as if the Americans discovered it was 100% commercialized and we never took possession collectively. It's still owned by the king, right? Or by some agent, which is what it is, right? These states were assigned to colonies, and they were like William Penn, a friend of the king. He did a great job. It's yours, right? Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, the data conversation is very curious to me. Sometimes I kind of flip the other way, thinking that the abolition of all of these end user agreements and copyright and digital rights needs that. Like, if anyone can build their own front end for Twitter with their own algorithm, which you can pick from,
Like
you get well, okay, true, but that's not a front end for Twitter. That's a separate platform. I mean something where it would still provide and scrape the data from Twitter and just let you organize it with your own algorithm.
When Facebook had an open social platform.
Right. And
then what they do?
it down so they can have so they can do a support, so they can do their ad platforms, right? And the way they cut it down is through like a digital rights IP world. I'm not super familiar with all of that, but like even little tools like Tweetreader and Twitlonger on Twitter to let you view threads in the way you wanted to view them. And Twitter went after that and shut that down, right? Because their moneymaker is having you on their
flow,
platform, right? And if they didn't have those, if the government didn't enforce those digital rights, then other people could create different experiences with those same posts.
Except that who controls the government now on both sides of the aisle? And the AI companies even more dangerous.
Right, and the whole new side job with Georgian on this is you have all of these like protocol and standards committees in the tech world that are these weird like pseudo government, right? And then
they own the government,
right?
They own our government,
and they're
they own
dominating
the legislators,
right? And George will tell you all the time those should be sortition bodies. And those are the ones who should be deciding on these standards.
We need an implementation for that to even begin, because the system is hard.
It is.
So Mastodon and just hit the wall on the network effects of trying to copy established players. They said, ultimately we'll do it, and the data story will be enough to keep people open. They bounce at about 2-3% adoption, and they're failing on that.
I mean, it's super hard to put, like, there was that platform Vine, right? And then it died, and like became TikTok. Like TikTok, I wouldn't have bet on TikTok, but sure, it worked.
Because it was way more WAP than Instagram.
Right.
So focusing on people's stories.
Right.
And
I'm
then
not
they went on just
I'm not connected to what's cool in high school, so yeah, the next generation will come along, and someday TikTok will look old and lame.
But then it will be another corporate track to VC backed,
right?
Power controlled, surveillance, and manipulative technology, which we're seeing with AI, right? Even OpenAI was started as a foundation, but then they have the relationship with Microsoft, which is the first compromise. That means, corporate, we're going to give you money in the corporate data to serve corporate purposes. The way that Google is doing Gemini for everything that they have is data in theirs. And then Anthropic is trying to do the ethical one, but they're just doing code.
Well, I mean, what was Google's slogan, the don't be evil?
Just be monopolistic.
Yeah.
And try to be a benevolent dictator, right? Which is what we're dealing with. So, long and short, there is one
We got all the answers right
There's
here. Roll the dice, baby.
one stakeholder group that is ownership, which is local entrepreneurs. You have LinkedIn for corporate, but you have nothing like that at the local level. And so I'm going there. I'm already building it. And then we're going to have the instance to say what governance is
You need
like.
to hire any coders or just
I've got my, we will. Right now, I've got my cousin's son is already coding right now. We've done a lot of AI. What's your specialty?
video game programming.
Yeah.
But I am doing a contract job making an iPhone app, but I have not done any more yet.
This one's
Well,
very
I've like picked
AI
things up on
integration.
but I the actual way to how you would take either an LLM model or some kind of machine learning and integrate that.
Yeah, you got a security forte, man. And then so what our thing is about being able to get your single up for not just your main thing. Not if you have a wellness, right? What are your side businesses?
Me personally?
Any like game communities or stuff that you do for fun?
Oh, sure. I co-organize 2 video game meetups, and I'm working on my game. I'm doing my contract job. I'm an active soccer player, but I don't know if there's a ton of different like team organization apps that I've done. I find very useful these days. And then there's a question of democracy without elections. Just talking about wanting some kind of app and nationwide membership. But sure, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what all the features on that app would need to be. We have a website with a membership portal. But
The chat happens in Telegram or in WhatsApp or what? How many members right now?
in BWE, I don't know their membership.
It's weird that it's all one thing.
DW Pad.
So I know
No, Assemble
it's an assembly. Assembly America, but Canada has monthly, bi-monthly goals with, I don't know, how many 50, 80 people it's all different.
Yeah.
Related to it. And there's Medical, there's Tech Alliance, and other alliances. We have like these associations that it's more about the whole bridging, walking, building, and belonging movements. All of them more broadly. I just look at all of them and it's like, here's the stuff that's been blowing me away. But 20 to 40% of our local is now solopreneurs and psychics. And it's going to go up because it's internationally. And then we've got about, it's like between Telegram and WhatsApp, it's 5.5 billion users with about 1.5 billion groups, all of which generating tons of noise and filters. And at the local level, no way of finding who the providers of the local services are that might be somebody else. LinkedIn, there's Yelp mostly for social, and Yelp's problem is all the ratings are missed. So the recommendations are right? And then you don't do problems. So those are the ones I'm going after. If you give people their data and they get a profile for what their main gig is and their side gigs and their passions and interests, you can start to match with higher resolution if you do it neighborhood by neighborhood. You just hit network effects in a neighborhood, not only
there's next door.
Yep. But it's noisy and it's older and it's got cranks in it. It's not AI friendly and it's just a big gnarly mess that no one under 40 is even in.
Yes.
So they are a potential competitor to what we're doing right now. Like not really because they're commercially attractive, driven, ad driven, publicly traded, and the CEOs under pressure to actually turn it around. So they don't really have a model to be able to change from their existing extractive model.
Yes.
But that's the most expensive. And even then they have a listing for stuff. not services.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's, I do not know from whence we will be ushered into our Star Trek future timeline, but I'm open to all comers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let liberty shine forth.
In anarchistic experiments. No government consent required.
Yeah, this is I guess this is an argument that Alex has continued with her husband, whether or not civic assemblies or petitions should be classified as anarchy.
It's a form of, technically.
I say let a civic assembly decide.
Exactly.
The civic assembly decide.
Whether this is anarchy.
Oh, great. I know this conversation.
How did they, he was just mentioning that your husband is like
Yeah.
described this that way, right?
Well, so I argue to him about it this way. He doesn't anger me, so he agrees. No,
Good man.
no, he like kind of gets it, but he doesn't fully agree.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to hear what that's yeah, no. Technically, I think it's the definition of anarchy in core practice of General Assembly, which is this. That's, and if sortition was a good corruption group vehicle, they would use it.
Eight of these.
That was a fun detour.
I think most groups are just about done, so try to get down your final thoughts.
Yep.
So now the folks have been revising their whole proposals with the feedback from the other groups. And now they're going to fine tune those proposals so we get to something akin to final, refine, and optimize proposals for each of these things to try to answer the questions and feedback that was offered by everyone else looking at the proposals and their considered reflections, which is pretty exciting. I love this feedback process. It's good. Everyone's like animated and taking in the questions and the notes and everything, and doing a very earnest job at refining the things.
It's hard though. It's a big
lift for one day.
It's a big lift. We want to go home and have a nice drink.
Are you concerned that we need more stickers?
No, Excellent job.
Well, yeah. When you said, I don't think we have.
I don't know.
No, if that was a genuine question, I couldn't tell. Real deal. Let's do that first.
Okay.
Take a picture. Let's go.
Okay, thumbs up if your groups are good. Yeah, thumbs up-ish. You guys have been done for like 20 minutes. Okay, for those, I give up. For those who need an extra minute, so we were thinking that we would do a group picture before the final vote. That way people are still enthused, not sad if their vote gets counted. But either way, so we were thinking before the sun goes down, because there's a nice ICA LA sign outside. Yeah. And so if people don't mind heading outside and forming in photo formation.
Thanks for dedicating your whole day to this. It was an unexpected.
I'm a little bit invested.
One more voting to do. My tape disappeared.
This?
Oh, yes, thank you.
He's not in the
Okay, this is our recommendations. I'm gonna put yeah. The other one was fine. Okay, are we thinking after that? So I can take this up. Like, I want to make sure that they actually have the recording documents. It's all the time. We're like, you know,
Right here where
Okay, so I forgot that I gave up. Okay, flip charts back up, please. Let's put the flip, it's gonna go flip chart, blank voting, old voting. Okay? Flip chart, blank, old voting. You guys are missing a group. When you bring up your flip chart, I'll help you if that was confusing.
Where you want to go? Over here?
We'll cross it out so people know.
Sure.
You were right. Okay. We're missing one? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give the next set of instructions while we wait. Okay, so this voting process should be kind of not new to you at this point. We're going to use the same scale. The difference is that we're actually going to be calculating. So you'll see that strongly agree and agree are both 1 point, neutral is 0 points, and somewhat disagree and strongly disagree are -1 points. And the reason for that is to provide some weight behind people who really don't like it, and also to provide weight for those who really do like it. And at the end of this, we'll be able to calculate the votes for each of these recommendations, and they'll make it into a list. We will provide the commission with the full list. I'll explain more about that later. So even if your idea is lower in the list, that doesn't mean they won't see it. We're just kind of showing the weight behind it. And the reason for that is that civic assemblies are not, we aim for consensus, and we want to get as close as possible to the full group's viewpoint, but dissenting views also matter. So you don't just get disqualified or left out. We want to include those in whatever we share with the commission. Okay, so what you're going to see is the same score. The new recommendation should be written on the top. Hopefully anything old recommendations are crossed out. This paper is the new recommendation. Is that accurate? Same, this top line.
Go down, follow the arrow around.
Nope.
Yes.
Good thing I said that. This one is the new recommendation that you're looking at. This one has 2, so you'll see an A and a B. Well done, team, for making that very clear. Yes.
Yeah, so for that one, it's also two
Yeah, I slid into, I did not, yeah, I should have made it more noticeable. The first one, I'll
The
win.
first one?
Yes. Yeah, I did not separate them.
So the stuff in green and red is crossed out.
Stuff in green and red is crossed out.
Yeah, I crossed it out.
Can you do me a favor and write it on something with a marker of sorts on something? So that way it's clear what the,
Just on the back
Actually,
of this.
here's what we're gonna
You got it.
do. You got him at. You could also say write it on. Sure. Okay. At the end, we'll also put up the old votes so we can kind of see how things compare. Any questions? Is it clear like why we're doing this and what we're going to get out of this? Cool. We have, it's like 10-ish minutes to do this. So feel free to move up. Don't necessarily swarm one. You can kind of divide up and move in different directions and bump into each other at this point. We all know each other. So you should have dot votes on your table. Take a strip. If you don't have a dot vote strip, let me know. We have many more. Everyone got it? Okay, cool. Almost.
I'm just gonna move taking it steady. So sorry.
It's up to you whether or not you vote. Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to adapt to them. The comments are there, I mean, we're not gonna make them passive. So if you request a change, it's a month.
It doesn't block people's view.
We don't have that. LA's a major city that lacks a capital investment.
You want to switch? Okay.
They're not. The general plan.
I didn't like to.
They got confused because they don't understand like because they don't like them posted on YouTube.
Yeah, because you have to think of it as like a whole.
Yeah.
Right? Permitting is not just
Why
housing.
don't well you see housing I'll fix it up. I can tell you. Not whatever they want, but
Yeah. I mean, I agree with housing, but not everybody. But permit.
it's not talking. It's not looking at anything else.
Very small.
I know. It's so bad. Yeah, not anything like
The wire, I can afford that USB cable. So just be careful so not to knock them.
And their holistic well-being. So many. You know what? I'm gonna you know what? Certain people don't want a damn thing in their neighborhood, and they're gonna say that their holistic well-being is having absolute consequences. So I want to talk
As
about
much as I disagree with I agree that people should be able to speak if they don't want it. I'm not with those people. They should still have the right to have a say. I'm not trying to change anything, but I heard you. The only way to really get the full sense of what's out there is speaking. You learn what their fears are. Like, I don't want to hear this is going to screw up traffic in my area. And then the rebuttal is, what apartment complex if you ever threw in where everybody leaves at the same time. So, so you can change their mind. But the louder voice wins. So even if you're coming out there and they're, you just have to be the louder voice. Yeah.
By actually reaching out.
Oh, so you're trying to counter it from the narrative. Right. Right. I hear you. I can see your point.
But then when you think about it, like real quick. But it's also I think that.
No, I don't. There were no other pages. You just offered some advice.
You're right.
You did have the the ask for some people who might be interested in continuing this work.
And I was also
We'll announce the raffle winner, the person who gets to take a piece of art from.
yeah. I was also thinking that we would send out whatever the report is to the group after, like additional comments before we send it to the commission. Is that too crazy? I don't know if anyone would comment, but I like the idea of getting like a group review.
Who decides which comments go along with it, or we just agree to post all of them?
Yeah, we would post all of them.
I support that. If you're gonna do it, we post all the comments.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
Too crazy? Maybe that's a little crazy. I don't know.
You're just feeling like you're not sick anymore. You're just full of energy.
Okay. Yeah, great. I like when other people started. It makes me feel better. Okay, cool. A little cheesy, but congratulations. You guys just made it through a really intense 7 hours. We are very, very appreciative of how much time and energy you guys put into tonight. We know it was a lot, especially if this is a newer topic too. I just break all mics. I don't know. But we really appreciate all of the energy and time that you spent today. Hopefully you met some new people as well, which is a huge benefit. And so we have a lot of recommendations that are along this board. You may not be surprised to know that our plan was not just to hand a flip chart paper to the commission. Our plan is more to formalize it into a report and then have a presentation. The real piece of this, and Max was hinting at this earlier, is that we are facilitating, but these are not any of our ideas, right? These are your ideas. So what we really need from the group are ideally some volunteers who might be willing
to take a deeper dive into some of this, help us formulate this into a report, help present, and make sure that all the ideas in those small groups are captured within the report. The second part of that, and this part I haven't fully run by the team, so I'm just throwing it out to see if there's interest in this, is that I would love that, like, whoever the working group is, that we then can share it out to you guys for final eyes before we share it to the commission. So that way there's time for you to add any other dissenting views that are not included that you want to make sure the commission is aware of. Does that sound like a good thing to you guys? Cool. Okay. There will be a feedback survey in like a second where we will ask you if you would like more information about how to help with the next step, but we would really, really love this to be driven by as many of you as possible. Okay. How are we doing time? Oh, we have time for a little bit of a wrap up, which is nice and unusual. There's just a list of questions up here. Sorry, you're probably the last thing you want to see is a list of 4 more questions. But the idea is we really want to know from you, like, what was most meaningful about today? What was most surprising? What information or moment shaped your thinking? Was there anything that challenged an assumption? How has participating today influenced how you think about LA's charter? Anything else you want to share? Just like a handful of people, if anyone wants to give any reflections about the last 7 hours, we would really love to hear it. Yeah.
So for me, some definitions defining like outlines of what the charter may be. The meetings have been like, this is what the charter is, this is how they are appointed or elected. A little bit of background of the charter, for example, the mayor, appointment, president, council, just having that history, because I think there's a lot of questions that happen in the groups that we weren't aware of the way that the charter is built. Number 2 would be like definitions. What was that definition you spirit, right? Like the land use or so number 1 is can you guys hear me? Should I hear you guys? All right, I'll bring my mom voice.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So the first thing I said is maybe starting off with giving us a little background about the charter. Are they elected or are they appointed? Because a lot of the discussions that we had were about accountability, right? How do we hold them to stakeholder involvement? So knowing how the charter is composed of and how they are composed, right? Number 2 is some definitions, because I really got stuck when it's by right of development. I had no idea what by right of development was. So maybe like when you sent out that, just give us like legit, this is what by right means, but so forth, especially. I really loved your rubric, by the way, saying what you think of proposing, what should be changed. I really appreciate that. But those are my 2 takeaways.
Yep.
I think what I hope that the commission understands about today's group discussion, and I saw this sort of a recurring theme now that we're kind of at the end of today's process, is how important it is for the community to have input, to be heard and respected, have a seat at the table, offering some oversight and guidance and to see that whatever reforms come out of this commission, specifically as pertains to land use, that planning and land use will recognize our views when these projects are being proposed to come into our community, that we have a voice that's recognized, acknowledged, and it's done so in a timely manner, in a transparent, timely manner. So thank you. I thought this was a great start to what I think will become a longer conversation and I'd like to be further involved in the next step. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I think for me, having followed the charter process since the beginning and even helping to be pushing to actually have the appointments made, I think for me, the difference in seeing how these groups function versus how the charter commission itself is functioning. Because we're all coming this from the perspective of people who live in LA, but people who are generally not people who have power, right? Not people who have the influence. But the people who are making the decisions are coming from it from a position of being put into that position by elected officials. And I think the discussions that you're seeing there are very much reflecting the opinions and how that conversation has been shaped is very much shaped by who those people are, how they've been appointed, and there's a divergence between those in some of those conversations. And that's one of the things I think has been most striking, because I saw so many more conversations about accountability, transparency, about wanting things to have mechanisms for being held accountable in different ways, wanting to make sure that the city was fiscally on track, wanting to make sure that that was much more open to the public. And that's not something that I've seen reflected nearly as much in the charter commission process. And that divergence to me was very striking.
Yeah.
This process gives me more confidence about making decisions via citizens' assemblies, and it went much more smoothly than I thought it might, and I have you all and the staff that thanks for the process, moving the process along. Citizens' voices have systematically been suppressed by bodies like the Senate, which was, if you look at the discussion of the founding fathers, they purposely created the Senate to test the populist, more representative body of the what's the other house, the House of Reps. So, and you can see that in all the policies that Monty went over, and I think, like I said, it just gives me more confidence in the citizen assembly process, and I would like to see that expanded.
Thanks. Yeah. Me too. Does anyone else have? Yeah.
I wanted to say, while this was a very convincing experience, I really feel like I have time to really dive into things that I really have I do, regardless of the recommendations from the board, just being here and being in this process, in this convincing process, to make it much more accessible to me, to be able to just do this in a day, I really appreciate it. And it also does help to feeling more confident. I feel fortunate because I have two other community stuff. I'm on the school, basically kind of a mini school board. But this is very it's encouraging, inspiring, and I really would love to see way more. Even just these mini sessions, even if they don't have the full accomplishment, I think it's just such a good thing for people to learn how to be engaged and sort of be able to use points. I really appreciate it. I really feel like this would be benefited for being more than an 8-hour event, but I'm also very thankful that I wasn't because it's much more easy.
Yeah. Any other last thoughts? Okay. You have to speak louder.
It would have been wonderful if somebody from City Council, maybe a field staffer from CD14, or even the mayor's office had come by today to acknowledge the work of this body and the group, just for a minute to say thank you for the work that you're doing to improve the quality of life for all Angelinos. And so perhaps leadership today could take that feedback back to City Council and say, hey, when we have our next mini citizens commission, we need somebody to come by and just simply say hello. That would have been a really big thing for anyone to show up. I wanted to see that. I didn't really expect it would happen, but I'm sort of disappointed. And I don't live in this district, but I would have loved to see somebody from the council district come by today.
It's a great idea. We're hoping some tune into live stream, but I wouldn't say that I feel fully confident in that. I am conscious of time, so is it okay if I move forward? I feel very strongly about ending at 5, especially after you guys had been here all day. So,
Behind me are 2 QR codes, just if you wanted more information. PDLA, a lot of us who are your small group moderators are from PDLA advocating for civic assemblies. We would love for more support in that. We also have Fair Up LA represented, Braver Angels, so it was definitely a group effort. And the reason that I really wanted to make sure is because we really do want your feedback. We have another mini assembly planned for January 11th. We've been doing different versions of this, but this is definitely the most intensive version we did. So feel free to share your opinions, the good and the bad and everything in between. So that way we can continue to improve it and make sure that this is as actionable as possible. In that survey, there's also, please at the bare minimum, write down which group, which recommendations you looked at. So if we have follow-up questions as the report is being written, we can go to the people who are in the discussion, because it'd be really unfortunate if we are not able to do that. And also tell your friends to sign up for January 11th. It's a pool again, but spread the word, because the more people who apply, the more representative the group becomes. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to do the survey and if anyone needs hard copies. Gotta do that. I'll do that. Yes.
Anyone need our survey or copy? Oh, yeah.
No, which is fine, I'm just FYI, you might not get the.
Which question?
One time participants having the Google form is letting people press yes on a certain question.
Oh, which question?
It was, would you be willing to like participate in the final committee to pertain to something on the nose?
Okay. Whoever it is, if it is. Oh yes, thank you. One wrap up. Sorry. Before you, excuse me.
There you go.
Okay. So just, sorry, last thing I promise. Melina reminded me that we did not actually calculate the votes. Hey team, give me 1 minute. Less than a minute. Less than a minute, sorry. Didn't calculate the votes. The votes are now up if you want to look as we do it. There's a chance it's plus or minus 1 because I was doing it pretty quickly, but we're going to take pictures and make sure that it is right. I heard that the form didn't really let you say yes maybe in one of the questions, so like if you had a problem and you wanted to follow up, please let me know. And yeah, thank you guys. And last words.
Yeah. So when we're all done, we need to clean up a little bit. And before you all rush out, it would really be great if you could help a little bit with that. So Alex, or fellow facilitators, are there things on? Yeah, go ahead.
We got it.
We got it, yeah.
What do you mean we got it?
I don't think the participants.
Yeah, the participants don't need to.
The participants have done their duty.
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing?
Okay.
Hey, folks, one more thing. Just Alex and the team put so much time into this.
Especially Alex.
And the volunteer facilitators, everyone's volunteer here. A big round of applause for everyone and yourselves.
Thanks, Alex. Super fun.
I can't believe you stayed like the whole afternoon.
I want to see what I learned something.
Nice chatting with you. I'm going to